Hello everyone. So maybe I'm going to start with a little survey. So who knows about Flutter? I guess everyone. Who is a beginner, intermediate? Who qualify him as an expert? And who knows about FlutterFlow? Did you already try it or publish an application on it? No? Okay, so tonight I'm going to just to do a small introduction about FlutterFlow, about what the tool is and how we can use it to build a Flutter application. So my name is Ekrat, I'm a solution architect, and I'm most of the time my job day to day is to do some slide and some Excel, and I love to code when I have some times. And I really love so this new movement that's to have a low code and no code application that simplify in fact the way that we had now build the application. And now with AI we can even do more with it. And FlutterFlow is in this movement. So what is FlutterFlow? So I pick a phrase from Leita Reed, which was a developer relation at Flutter, but now she's working at FlutterFlow. So FlutterFlow for her is not a low-code tool, but a visual development environment. So what does it mean by here? That it's not just a tool that you're going to drag and drop some components and build everything on top of the interface, but the FlutterFlow try in fact to have all developers engaged into the application. You can be beginner or expert. You can use FlutterFlow for your developer application. So FlutterFlow was found not so long time ago, so in 2020, by two ex-Googler who work on Flutter. So the main goal of the FlutterFlow is to have an intuitive visual interface where you can build your screen using drag and drop like any kind of low code application. You have some advanced feature for developers. That means that for developers who love to code, you can code into a FlutterFlow. And also they want to simplify the process to build, to compile, and to publish the application. And also they want to also help you to integrate some common use case that you have to integrate into application, like the authentication, payment, in-app purchase, and so you can integrate this directly with FlutterFlow. So the visual interface, so FlutterFlow come with Flutter-based widgets, but they also introduce some FlutterFlow widgets, which is built on top of the Flutter-based widgets. You also have marketplace where you can find some widget that people has published. It could be free or you can pay it. And you can build your own widget. That means that in the FlutterFlow interface, you can put some codes and the widget will be available for you to put directly into the, as a drag and drop into the application. For the feature, for developer, so for developer, you can extend in fact the FlutterFlow application with your own custom code. So you can add your own custom code. You can even import some libraries from PubDev if you want. You have some copilot assistance in the interface. You can manage API calls. So that means that you can declare in fact what API you're going to call. Now they add in fact you can export your code. So FlutterFlow is not going to have some kind of black box for you, but you can export your code to GitHub. And from there, you can see that all your code you have, and if you want, you can continue to develop outside FlutterFlow. And now they add also, most of the time you have to develop, in fact, inside the FlutterFlow interface, but now they have done what they call the run local, so you can run locally, in fact, your Flutter application. From the development lifecycle, so they try to cover from the build to the deploy. So for that, you can, so as I said, you can have two kinds of environment. You can test directly inside FlutterFlow or on your own machine. You can sync so the code with a Git repository. You have also for the publish and the build, you can They can provide you, in fact, the way to build the application, iOS and Android, through magic code, and they can deploy for you the application once you have provide them all the credentials to do so. And for the ecosystem integration, so FlutterFlow is very tight with Firebase. So Firebase is the main integration that they done. So you can, when you create a project, they ask you if you want to link your Flutter project with a Firebase project. So in that, when you accept Firebase, you can integrate everything that's authentication, notification, storage, and also use a Firestore as your database. But they come up with more integration with the time. So now you can integrate Supabase as a database. You can do notification, authentication, but now you also can do in-app purchase and subscription. That is handled by provider, and you can integrate third-party solution like Google Maps. So you have a special plugin. You can do search with Algoria, and you also can add some ads, advertise with AdMops. So everything is included, but most of the integration using a Firebase extension. So that means that for some integration that you want to do, you need to connect your Flutter application with Firebase. So now that we have a small presentation about what is FlutterFlow, we are going to try to build a small application, small screen, I will say, during the time we have. So what we are going to do? So we are not going to do to-do app. What we're going to do? I was with my son when I work with this. So we're going to do a small Pokédex, so Pokemon encyclopedia, where we are going to display all the Pokemon, and we can try to catch them all. That means that when you click on one Pokemon, he will say that he has been captured. So let's try to do this. So FlutterFlow is accessible through the web, but you can also have native application on Mac OS, on Windows, and on iPad. Don't ask me why iPad, but you can also do a FlutterFlow on iPad. Oh, I didn't connect. It's coming. Looks like I can connect.
It's 2024.
No, he didn't try to get access to the.
Yeah, you can forget the networks, and after you.
Okay.
You can add.
I will try. Forget network. Okay, let's try again. Okay, that's it. Ok, parfait, merci. Yeah, I made it. Thank you. Thank you. So yes, your interface. So just to know that FlutterFlow is not free. You have a free tier where you can use FlutterFlow, build an application, and only publish on the web. If you want to publish an application mobile, then you have start to have a pricing to do so. So it's a monthly pricing. Here's this. So I'm going to connect. Okay. So here, when you're connecting on the interface, you're coming into your workspace. So the workspace, you're going to see the list of your projects. They also try to push a lot to use FlutterFlow in enterprise, so you can have your own organization and you can share the project. That means that many people can work on the same project at the same time. You have this section for the marketplace, where you can find some people who has published some end-to-end application, so a whole application that you can download and use it for your project and reuse it. So you can. It's a good start if you don't have any idea, or you know the kind of application you want to develop, and you can start with this pre-built application. And then you have a resource that access to the documentation and the community. So let's go. Let's create. Let's create okay. Thanks. Okay. So when you create your project, so you also have they can push the template from FlutterFlow that has been done by the team of FlutterFlow, or you can create a blank one. Let's start with a blank one. So when you start, so he's going to ask you for a team. Let's try. Let's do this one with a red. That looks like the Pokédex. And here you can enable web, so to publish web on the web platform, and it will ask you if you want to set up Firebase or not. We won't need Firebase for now, but you can activate it later if you want. So let's start building. Okay, so let's have a quick look on the project. So the main screen when you have your project. So on your left, you have all the navigation where all the item, that's all the section that you can go. So this one is to have all the widgets that you can use to build your pages. This one is to have the pages and the widgets that you have built in your application, the list of one, to see the structure. This one is a storyboard that will help you, in fact, to see how all the pages interact together. And from there, you have all the connection that you can do. So here, you have the connection with Firestore. That you can create your own data types that you can reuse into the FlutterFlow application. This, you can do the API call. So you are going to define how you are going to call the API. Here is you want to upload assets for your application. And this section is where you can create some custom code that you can use into your FlutterFlow application. It's a section that you want if you want to build cloud functions. That's you can do some remote call to a cloud function in Firebase. If you want to do some tests, you can create some tests that will help you, in fact, to test your interface. The theme. So if you want to do some created specific theme for your application, you can define the color, the typography, and also you can define everything that's matter into the design system. That's the size of your screen, the primary color, what is the indicators, and also you can customize your own theme. That means that for each button you can do specific theming for the button, for the input fields that is going to apply each time you are going to use it. So let's go. shop. What I'm going to do, I'm going to launch this one. Yes.
Can you actually use native mobile features? Like I can see if you want
Yeah.
to use the camera, for example.
Yeah, you can use the camera. You can use. I don't remember where I see it, but you can use it. You can use a native. You can connect, in fact, to the native using camera and so on. I think there's a widget for this. Hmm? I will come back to you for this one. I know that you can do it.
Thank you.
So let's go. So by default, when you build the page, so you have the nav bar, the bar here, for the navigation. So what we can do here is going to change the title to call it Pokédex. And now in this section, so what we want to do is, okay, so we want to try to have this kind of application. So let's start to build this screen. Here we go. So here we have a column. So you have two ways to build your application. You can do drag and drop like this directly on the widget. But what I like is to use, in fact, this one to have the tree, in fact, of your application of your component. For me, it's more clearly to have it, and after each time, I just added the component I want into my widgets. So here for the container, it's good that you have everything is preset here. So you have the padding, you have the alignment, you have also the expanse that you want. So if you want, yep, you want to expand. You can do it here. Let's have it a border. So let's have it primary color for this one. Okay, so we're going to extend it. So here we are, the main. I'm going to push it here. Now I'm going to add. So we have a red, black, and after that we have a small insert inside of, on top of it. Okay. What I can do is to. Huh? Yeah.
White container with the.
Yeah, let's see that. So maybe I have we push this one on red. And the container, I will use the white one. This one. No. container, we are going to put the primary background color. Why? Primary, okay. Now let's select the container. The container, we are going to put white color. We are going to add maybe some paddings. And maybe some radius on the border. Where are my radius? It's here. Radius, let's say that we have 20. Okay. Okay. Inside this container, what we're going to do is we are going to add a grid view. And this is grid view. We are going to build these small cars. So let's go. So the small card, let's start with the container. Up. Okay. So the grid view, we are going to do some merging. Okay, let's go. So let's add a column. Let's add a text. Let's add an image. And we have also another text at the end. By default, when you load an image, it's going to try to do some visual for you. So you can see what it's going to see. So it's going to use, you're going to generate for you a specific image. Let's give him some size for the container. Okay, 8. Okay, perfect. You don't hear me? Okay. Let's give us a proper size for the image. Yeah, not so bad. Maybe the image we are going to push it a little bit. Here we go. So on this one we are going to put, for example, Pikachu. Here we are supposed to have the number of the Pokemon, but the text should be on the left, on the right, sorry. What we can do is try to expand. Put the text align on the left. Now we can wrap it into a container. And we are going to extend the container with a width. Okay, and add some padding on the container. Yeah, that pretty looks like. Yeah. Okay, now what we can do, okay. This text was a little bit bold. Okay, so now we have our component. I think I forgot something. The radius. Let's say 20 on this one. Okay. Review, maybe add some padding. Too many. Okay. Oh yeah. So here we have our components. So what we can do once we have built a component, that if we want to reuse it into another page or another screen, what we can do, we can convert it into a widget.
The border for your container.
You want us add a border? Okay, let's add a border. Up. Black one. Here we are. We are UX designer. So what I say that if you want, you can convert this into a component. So let's say that's we call it poke card, and we create here as a component that you can reuse. In fact, in your computer. So now, if you want to add a widget, you can also add. You can go here, and you see that you have your component that you can reuse it and add it. Okay. Okay. So now what we would want to do is, in fact, we are going to go to the widgets, and what we want, in fact, is to be able to configure the text, the image, and also the name of the Pokemon. So here in the page of the widget, what we can do is to build some parameters. So we are going to add it's going to be this one. It's going to be a string. It's going to be required. We have another one which is going to be the image. And this one is going to be an image base. So we're going to pass to the image. And the last one is going to be the name of the Pokemon. And it's going to be a string. And we are going to add the last one after. Okay. So yeah, so we have all these parameters that we can set now, in fact, into our component. So if I come back to the pages, here, so now I have my grid view, and here that I had parameters, you see that now I can set, in fact, my component, I can add some parameters. I can have some value, or I can rely on parameters that's available into FlutterFlow. Okay. Now what we are going to do is to load, in fact, to call an API to load, in fact, all the name of the Pokemon, and we are going to display it into the grid view. So to do so, we have an API. I think I have here just one. I should have here. Oh, okay. We have Poke API, which is an API that will help you, in fact, to find all the Pokemon. And what we are going to do is to call, I think, this one. So it's not protected or anything. So you have this. So you can call Pokemon. And here you have the list of the Pokemon. So it's going to be pagination, which is going to be handled by the offset and the limit. So let's go and call this one. Just come back. So I'm going to go on the, where is it? Oh, come on. Where is my API call? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a group. So I'm going to call this Pokemon API. I'm going to pass the base URL, which is going to be this one. That means that I'm going to be able to reuse it to call another API, which have the same basis. So now I'm going to do, so I'm going to do get Pokemon list. So the endpoint is Pokemon, and I can pass some headers, some query parameters, and so on. So what I'm going to need here is going to add some limits, which going to be an integers. I'm going to add another one, which is offset. Also an integer. And I think we are done. What we can do is to test if everything is working. So let's say that limit is going to be 20 and offset to start is going to be 0. And then you can also test if you want the value. You can test if it's working. Yep, I can see that I have all my name. And also, when you do your testing, it's going to analyze, in fact, the JSON and propose you if you want to parse the elements of your JSON response. So you can have here $.result, $.amount, and you can add the JSON path. That means that you can reuse it directly into your application. Okay, so now we have done this. So the main issue with this one is that we have the name, but we don't have the ID. The ID, in fact, is stored here. It's a number that you have in the URL, and we don't have also the images that we can where we can try to get the Pokemon. So this response is maybe there's a lack of information. What we can do from now is maybe to build a cloud function. We are going to call this first and then add and transform, in fact, the result to have the expecting result for the card that we want to display. Or we can do another things. That's what they call interceptor. We can add what they call interceptor. So we go in advanced settings. Maybe I'm going to save first. Misconfigure, it's not set. Okay. So I didn't put value. 20. 0. Okay. Oops, there's a bug. Let's go. Okay. Offset. Take 0. Let's save it. Okay. Now what we can do, in fact, is to add an interceptor. What interceptor is going to do is going to allow you to add a method from when you are going to call, before you call the API, and after you call the API. So you can, in fact, intercept what you are going to send and what you're going to return. So let's add an interceptor. Okay. So we're going. Pokemon info. So it is where you are going to be able to put some codes into your application. You can define some arguments. You can also here, if you want to add a specific dependency, you can add it here to be used into your code. Once you have started to define all these parameters, you can do then this one, and it's going to add that's weird. Normally you should not have done this. They have the actions. Create a new interceptor. Okay, this one is better. $10 minutes? Okay. I'm going to speed up. So yeah, check. Okay. Okay. So what we are going to do? What we're going to do is I'm going to be here. I'm going to copy paste. Yeah, it's true. So on this one, what I'm going to do is to define the data type. So I'm going to define, in fact, the data type that I want to display into my application. So I want to display, I want to have the ID, which is going to be a string. I want to have this one, which is going to be a string also. And I want to have this one, which is going to be the path to the image. And I want also Pokename, so the name of the Pokemon. Okay. Now I can come back to my custom functions here. Normally everything should be okay. Map strings, and here, okay. So here I'm going to build the list of my elements. Here we have structs, okay. And now when I'm come back here on the API, what I can do is to say that I want to return a data type, which is going to be this one, and it's going to be a list instead of receiving everything. Okay, so now I'm going to go to my page. And now what I want to do is to be able, in fact, to connect the grid view with my API call. To do so, I have here the query method. So I'm going to add a query. I'm going to say, okay, let me do an API call in this group and call me the Pokemon list. I'm going to do enable infinite scroll on this one. So now it's going to be able to load, in fact, the data. And now that we're going to load the data, we need to map the data to something. So what we're going to do is we are going to create the data. And this data is going to get from as a data type. Okay, and we're going to map list items. Okay, up. We can save. Okay. Okay, so now you see that you have activated, in fact, the loading. And what we are missing here, we are going to add, in fact, configure. So in the items, we are going to get, in fact, the information directly from the object that we have built. So for this one, we are going to add this PokeString ID. The image is the same. We're going to use this. The image, and for the name, same, and the name here. Okay. So now let's try to see if it is working or not. So when you do the test directly from the application and not locally, it's going to send, in fact, to build the application on the FlutterFlow server and send you in URL with an ID where you're going to see what's going to happen. All the test session in test mode has what we call a timeout. So we have a timeout. That means that when the timeout is gone, you have to relaunch, in fact, your session. If you want to do more permanent session, what you can do is to build version. So here, so you can test. So you're going to be on test mode, and you have this one which is going to be a run mode. That means it's going to persist, in fact, the status of your application and give you some kind of version that you can be able to reuse it through the URL and to share it with people.
Sorry, is there a hot reload?
there's some kind of no, there is not auto reload. If you don't changement, you have to click on this instant reload. That's why they are implement, in fact, what they call the local development. So here, what you can do is to it's done by project. What you can do, in fact, is to do what they call a local run. They're going to install, in fact, directly on your computer. They are to download the code in your VS Code or in your preferred IDE, and then you are going to be able to launch the application directly from your VS Code. And you can modify the code and test everything. But for now, it is not synchronized. That means that if you do some changes into your VS Code, it's not going to be push it back to FlutterFlow.
When you run the app as a demo on a website, which environment is emulated? Is it an Android, an iOS? If you have to test platform specific, you have to do it locally, or
you have to do it locally, or to publish it. Or what you can do is publish it, and you can download the application.
Okay.
So it's like a web view.
Yeah, here it is a web view, exactly. Yeah. This is new. They have changed. Depends.
So in the point, sorry.
Yeah.
So the point of she's asked about the camera.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna have like access for some hardware, I don't know, like camera or plugin or something like this.
You have to build it to publish it from their own. Download the APK, for example, and then test it. Yeah. That's why they implement the local run, as I say. This one is going to download the code, in fact, directly into your IDE, and from then you can launch the application.
So if it's online, it's just like for basic.
For basic, yeah, exactly. For basic visualization and test that the navigation is working correctly, and so on. Yeah.
I think it depends on the feature. I think from the browser you can actually use the camera. It's not just like it's a lot of applications running on the web. So
Yeah.
it has access to that data.
I guess.
I think I forgot something here. In my query backend. I should not refresh. They have changed things. Normally you should be able to configure the limit here. I don't see it. Okay. Never mind. I'm going to jump to the test project I have done. On this one, to explain maybe it's going to be so here what we have the same thing. So we have the list here. What I have added is the variables that's going to be able to set, in fact, for the what we call for the infinite scroll. That means that each time you are going to load the 21st one, and when you scroll, is going to call for the 20 next, and so on and so on. So this two variable has been set and is going to interact, in fact, with your API calls. So let's pipe on this one.
The previous one was the FlutterFlow desktop.
Sorry?
Was a desktop application for the
Yeah, yeah. This one is the desktop application that's running on the Mac.
Can you run it on local?
What do you mean by local?
Local environment.
It's running on the Mac. It's
But it went to the
yeah. For this one, I'm going to show you if you want how you can do it, run it on the local machine. So on this one, up here. So I have configured, in fact, my machine. So he start and use. So here, what I can do is to run it locally. So what he's going to do, he's going to upload, in fact, all my configuration from the Flutter that has been installed on my PC, on my Mac, and also if I configure some iOS and so on. And he's going also to download all the source code into the IDE that I choose. I choose VS Code for this one. I'm going to let fetching the API. Yep. This one is still.
For debugging, I would say the best way is to do it through VS Code rather than
Yeah. That's why it is very new. This local run is from I think last month. He just announced it because before it was very complex to test it. Because you didn't see it's very buggy. You didn't see how the bug where the bug is. You have to do some inspector and so on. It was very complicated to see how. Yeah. So here we have. So here, as you say, that once you're scrolling down, he's going to call. In fact, each time, he's going to recall the API to get new Pokemon. But I don't think I have time to show you how to do this clickable element. It's something that in the FlutterFlow, what we call actions. Action is something that it's not. I'm not sure that I'm going to have time to show you this, but maybe I will have time to show that. So here, for example, yeah, you see, I can open it into my VS Code.
This is a paid version.
Yeah. But even in the free, you have this.
No, it doesn't.
You don't have the local run? You don't have?
No.
Okay. I thought that.
I was trying to teach my Flutter.
Okay. So here you have all the code. So as you can see here, so you have the backend. That means that all the API call that has been defined here. You have here all my custom codes. So here this is the code that I have defined to transform, in fact, the response I receive to my object that I want to display. You have all the FlutterFlow class that has been used. And after that, you have my pages. So you have the widget pages that I've built. Yeah, you know how to zoom? Command plus.
Click on the explore, select one file on the back. And then
The three dots on the top right. Maybe on your trackpad.
I try. That's the first thing I try.
Try to do Command Shift plus.
Yeah, that's what I've done.
I think so. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But here we can see you can see that all the code it's a Flutter code. And here then you can launch an emulator if you want, and you can deploy on your local emulator. You can do it on the Chrome, on macOS, and it's going to deploy locally.
Just a question. Is it possible to share a link for the client to test the application?
Yeah, we can. You can share here. For example, if you're doing a run mode here, it's going to in fact install a stable version of your current status, and then here, as you can see, you have it has been published. You have a link, and then when you click on, okay, it's not one, but it's supposed to have the link. So.
Is there any track mode, like to see how your colleague inside the...
Yeah, if you are more than people that working on the same project, or let's maybe for example, I'm going to connect to the other project I'm already in, this one. Normally, I think that's if I'm the same, you didn't see it. But if you are two different people, you will see the people that's working on the same project.
Yeah,
It's
if you work with peers, is there a Git integration where you can actually commit, push?
No. That's what I say. For now, it's only pushing code. But if you're doing some commits and so on, it's not going to be pushed back to FlutterFlow. for now, for the flow, I think the best way if you want to use FlutterFlow and to do your own development is to use maybe FlutterFlow to build the interface, and then you export it into your Git, and then as you see that you have your codes, you can easily download it, modify it as you want, and start from there.
Okay.
And
also config CI/CD.
CI/CD, no, you cannot configure by default. It's going to be it's going. Yeah, it's code magic by default. When you set to publish, no, it's not this one. No, it's not. But when you publish and you have selected iOS, it's going to push for you on Magic code to compile and everything, and to come back with the binaries. So everything is already packaged to do so, and that's it. Yeah, I would like to show you the actions. Yeah. This time, yeah. Just one feature that's FlutterFlow is, in fact, you can code, in fact, instead of coding all the compartment, you can do what is called action. Action is going to be something that's to be on an event. For example, this one, if you click on the card, you're going to untap. And on tap, what I'm going to do is, in fact, I'm going to select, to know that the item is selected, I'm going to store the ID into a variable from my app state. And then I'm going to say that if I want to change the look and feel on my card. And here I add, at the end, I just add the snack bar. It's going to show the tag bar. So this is one of the main features when you want to develop, in fact, what we call the call action, so business action of your codes. And also, one I think I didn't talk about is this one, is the visibility. How they are managing, in fact, the responsive design. What you can do is, for each of your component, you can say, for my component, I want to display it only for the mobile, or for my tablet, or for the computer. So you can select, in fact, where you are going to display your component, and you can have in the same pages a set of components that has been different following the screen of your site that you want to display. And that's it.